I would.
Good afternoon. Yes. Welcome to the March 1st meeting of our club, the Rotary Club of West Jacksonville. As you stand and as Kevin Hurd comes forward to lead our invocation and Stephen Rowland to lead the pledge, please greet those around you. Just take a quick minute to say hello to the folks around you. Kevin's going to give our invocation.
Please bow your heads. Lord, bless this gathering of Rotarians today. Open our eyes to see those in need around us and give us the strength and wisdom to serve our community. Help us to live the four-way test by being fair and truthful with all people at all times. Inspire us to do good deeds in the world as we serve together as Rotarians. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kevin and Stephen. Appreciate that. And thank you, Nina, for doing our duty. Appreciate it. So it's great to be with you all today on this beautiful day. I know that sounds like a broken record, but it's wonderful to have so many beautiful Wednesdays in a row. So thanks for being here today. And do we have anybody on Zoom today, Chuck?
7.
7 people on Zoom today. So thank you all to our Zoomers. We're glad to have you with us as well. I wanted to give a special shout out to our past presidents. We had a wonderful event last night. There's a tradition in our club where once a year we have a past president's dinner. And so we did that last night. It was hosted by past President Bill Andrews. And I meant to send a picture to Joe so he could put it up there and you can see it. So we'll have to do that next week. But Dane, our incoming president, and I, our current president, were there, along with 19 of our past presidents. 19 past presidents made the time to be there last night. Several others called in or let us know that they could not be there. If you've ever wondered why our club is strong and why we remain the strong club that we are, a lot of that is due to the fact that we have so many past presidents who have remained active in our club. So my appreciation goes out and thanks to past President Bill Andrews for hosting us last night, and to each of the past presidents that made the time to be there. It's a very, very special evening. It's a special event. So if you would just join me in a round of applause for our past presidents. And one day you could be a past president and get to go to the dinner. Okay, last call for a raffle ticket. Larry's at the back door. So if you don't have your tickets yet, be sure to see Larry now. All right, pop-ups. Joe Springer has a pop-up for us today.
That I do. I'm going to talk today about the benefactor programs. President said I have 45 minutes to just get comfortable. Now, seriously, the benefactor program is something that was set up by Rotary for those members that wanted to give a charitable contribution of $1,000, just for the purposes and the programs that Rotary is involved in.
The beauty of this is we don't want your cash down. The benefactor is designated as something that's going to happen after your demise. So give $1,000. It's only the commitment to give the $1,000 that we're asking for. The money either goes to the Rotary Foundation Permanent Fund or it goes to the district designated fund and World Fund. I did leave some cards on the table, look something like this, and on the back of it is an actual give me some information and we'll take it from there. Are you already a benefactor? You can have more than one. You can name other people in your family, politicians, whoever you would like to have this go to. And you may even have somebody in the family, and this is the president pointed out today in an email, that may not want you to do this. They may not want you to spend that $1,000 for Rotary. Remember, you'll be dead. There's nothing they can do about it. So don't wait to give. Give the gift and let us keep going. If anyone has any questions, you know I'm up here for the most of the time after the meeting. Just come up and ask me any questions. I'll try to answer. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Joe.
Uh-huh.
And, as Joe mentioned, it's a very painless way to give to the foundation. $1,000, and as he mentioned, is after you've met your maker, and if your family complains about it, well, you're not going to hear it because you're not here. So anyway, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Wanted to thank Ron Roberts. He went with the Rotary Club of Northwest Jacksonville to do a dictionary project delivery this week, or last week, this week. We had some extra dictionaries because one of our schools, we had a overlap with another club, and so we had some extra dictionaries. This is in the project that Will Tesh let us in this year. And so Ron went with the Northwest Jacksonville Club to do a school in their area. And so we've made some other children happy here in the Jacksonville area. So very much appreciate you doing that, Ron. I very much appreciate Will's leadership in that project this year. So and more outreach from our club to children here in the Jacksonville area. So thank you, Ron. Appreciate that. Want to let you know, and I'll ask Kevin to put some information in our Westward here in another week or so, but the Rotary Club of Fleming Island is having their fundraiser on April the 29th. It will be a wine and beer pairing. It looks very interesting. I do have a flyer with me, so if you want information about sponsorships, I have that with me, and I'll be glad to share that with you. But that's April the 29th, a wine and beer pairing. So if you enjoyed the Riverside function last weekend, the beer festival, then you can just carry that over into April and go to the wine and beer pairing with the Fleming Island Club. And then one calendar change for you. The date for the President's Night in our calendar was originally published as June the 28th. And for a couple of different reasons, we're going to move it up to June the 21st. So please make a note of that. We'll update it everywhere on our website and everything else. And I'll ask Kevin to put it in our Westward. But please go ahead and make a note in your calendars. Our President's Night event will be on June the 21st. And Larry Daly has a pop-up for us. Right, Larry?
Couple things. One is, I just want to say thank you so much, for all the ties that people have donated. I mean, the Rotary is just, I was really surprised, and I guess I shouldn't be. You never, always above and beyond. Thank you so much. I gave ties to our young man named Robert Gordon, a couple weeks ago. And I thought he was going to cry. He said, thank you so much, for, just supporting our young people. These are young people who, going on a job interview, we were talking, and they'd like to be wearing a tie when they go on a job interview. Some people, you know, unfortunately, they're not thinking about going out by a tie. Maybe they're thinking about, you know, like keeping gas in their car or something like that, right? So
Right.
anyway, so thank you so much. The other thing is that you all know I work for the Navy. Okay, so I was given a thing yesterday, you know, got an email from our command up in our Navy recruiting, and they have a program, it's called Embark. And I just thought about some of the people in this room, okay? Embark is the Navy, basically, they send you, you know, to a place like San Diego, California, and then they send you to a ship. And then you are able to spend a couple of days on a Navy ship, you know, really nice quarters, you know, just a great opportunity. And I met people who've been involved in this program before, and I guarantee you, some people thought it was a life-changing event, you know, just really eye-opening. So if you'd be interested in an adventure, you know, I know people at work, you know, but before you say no, you know, I really think about it. You know, it's a couple days on a Navy ship, you know, with sailors in our Navy, you know, and you see what, you know, the great things our Navy is doing for our country, you know. So if you're interested, please contact me. You know, I can get the ball rolling for you to make that happen for you. Okay. The next one I think is scheduled the 21st or the 24th of March. Okay, there's a couple of days on a ship. They fly you, no cost, zero. Okay, the government pays the bill, you know, so you know they send you from here to San Diego, California, and then they send you out to a ship somewhere. But I think some of you, I know you've been in the Navy. Stuart told me he'd been in the Navy and had that experience being on a ship before. So I think some of you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so. But thanks for the opportunity to talk to you, and it's always an honor and privilege to be with you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Larry. Are there any pop-ups, any other pop-ups that I missed? Okay, great. Then I will ask Palmer Bell to come give us a Family of Rotary report. Palmer?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to March. Kind of hard to believe that we're already in March. Things keep rolling along. A few tidbits for this particular meeting. Mary Pat Wallmeyer is now in charge, I suppose, of the development office there at Canines for Warriors. So she's in the grant process for them, which is nice update for her. Then for some of you who wondered about Clayton Riley, I stopped over to see Clayton on the way over here today. And honestly, Clayton goes up and down, but he wanted me to be sure to let you know that he's there at the Windsor. He's happy. He's doing as well as a 97-year-old can do.
God love it.
He does have Bell's palsy, so that if you do go to visit him with him or talk with him, he has that typical sag on one side of his face. But he wanted to be sure that I knew he could get up and walk, and showed me how to get up and walk around the room. And he just wanted to be sure that all his Rotary friends knew that he was well, and 97, must have said he was 97 4 or 5 times. So if I'm that good at 97, I will be very happy. It does remind me, though, that very often our members drift away. And because of the age of the club and people moving, if you know of folks, if you would stay in touch with them, let us know on Family of Rotary what's going on. Do a pop-up so everyone else knows what's going on in their life. That list of past presidents is one indication of the strength of our club. Another is we truly enjoy each other and stay in touch. So please keep that ball rolling. Birthdays this week, we have, I guess, Preston Keys, we get to view you double because you were on the 27th of February, but I think they did you last week. So you're twice as old as you were before. Yeah, and later on this week, past president Tommy Platt's birthday, and then today's birthday is Stu Irwin, and Stu, Birdie's telling me that this is a milestone birthday for you, number 80. Is that correct?
Wow.
Wouldn't believe it.
Happy birthday, yeah. No one, they're up front, they're saying they can't believe it, Stu, but you look great. I know a lot of you go out and you do different things, and I was out hiking and came upon an enchanted forest. So I went into the enchanted forest with the idea that I would find an enchanted tree that I could cut down, bring home. And so I went into the enchanted forest, and as I got in there, lo and behold, there was a talking tree. And the tree was talking. I, of course, had my axe with me, and but this tree just kept talking and talking and talking. And so I said, you know, this is awful. I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting you down. The tree said, oh, wait a minute. No, you can't cut me down. I'm unique. I'm a talking tree. How could you dare cut me down? I said, you may be a talking tree, but you're going to die a log.
I have to admit, it took me a minute on that one, Palmer. Thank you, Palmer. And as Palmer was saying, you know, we're all friends here, and I would encourage you to stay in touch with people. One of the things that Jimmy Kelly, past President Jimmy Kelly, mentioned last night during the President's Night dinner was how much it has meant to him as he has gone through some of his health issues, that folks stayed in touch with him, and that he knew that we were all there for him. And I won't say more because I'll start crying. But anyway, so I know that Patty's already put a card in the mail to Clayton, and I'll do the same in a few days. So please, you know, please stay in touch with people. It means a lot. Ron?
They can call your now at Cypress Village. We went from St. Vincent 2 weeks ago to rehab at Cypress Village. Hopefully he'll get strong enough to come back home. He's 91.
Okay, was everybody able to hear that? Dave Collier is at Cypress Village now, and he is 91. Wow.
Wow.
All right, so y'all please keep Dave Collier in your thoughts and prayers as well. So thank you all. Thanks for what you do. I really appreciate it. It is family of Rotary, and it means family. We are family. So, okay, weekly raffle drawing. Are we ready? Where are we? There we go. All right, so besides the board, has anybody figured out why we're drawing for the Queen of Hearts? Say it again. We're drawing for the Queen of Hearts because we could have done like the King of something or whatever. But it was the Queen of Hearts because we started this in February, the month of love and hearts, and you have a female president. How's that, huh? It's as creative as I get, y'all. That's the best I can do.
So I'm glad to be up here to do the raffle this week. Just to let everybody know, we've raised a lot of money. The money is going to the youth groups that we support with Rotary. So thank you to everybody who has contributed. I do have some cards in here, so I'm going to let our guest today pick out the winner. So you don't think of two. All right. Thank you. And we don't have any extra cards today because there are no dog treats. So the lucky winner is 0684543. All right, Palmer Bell.
Winner. So the pot keeps growing, right, Kurt?
I think so, yeah.
All righty. So thank you all for participating. And Sergeant Orange Carter Rosenblatt's going to take over now.
So we do have a visiting Rotarian today, Tom Snyder.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, I've got.
Sorry, not.
I may have signed her up on the visiting Rotarian list, but Amanda Urbizu is the community leader at Maple Street Biscuit in Murray Hill, and she's been with Maple Street a number of years in different capacities. She will be our speaker in 2 weeks on March 15th. So I know we have a lot of Maple Street patrons here. I'm there 2 or 3 times a week to get my cup of grits and my coffee club coffee. So anyway, please greet Amanda when you see her today, and she'll be back.
So we were getting new carpet put in our office this week, and it's kind of like we're moving out of the office through the process. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to do research. But I did find a joke. It's an old joke. I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard it because it applies to Rotary, but we do have new members, and I think it's good to remind everybody of what we do here. So a doctor, a lawyer, and a Rotarian who had just been doing a fundraising project are at the pearly gates. And as they're there, St. Peter says to them, he says, you can have one thing to bring in as you pass the gates. So the doctor looks at him and goes, well, can I have $1 million?
My God.
He says, sure. So the doctor goes in and he has his $1 million. The lawyer, not to be surpassed, said, I would like to have $2 million. So Peter says, okay, and they takes $2 million and he goes inside. The Rotarian, who had just done a fundraising project, looked at Peter and he kind of goes up to him and in a soft voice, he whispers to him. And he says, can you give me the name of the 2 people who just walked in?
I like this.
I'd like to bring up Dane Jensen to introduce our speakers today.
Appreciate it. You know, before I get started and introduce today's speakers, I do want to say, just briefly express my gratitude to everybody that was there last night. Sometimes it's easy to forget just how tremendous and wonderful not only Rotary as an organization is, but certainly this club. So thank you to everybody that was there. Thank you for the great advice. And I really look forward to serving this club come July. So without further ado, it is very much a pleasure to introduce today's speakers. Booras MD was founded by Dr. Charlie Booras, a certified cannabis physician, with his brother Peter Booras, a certified cannabis consultant with detailed knowledge of all aspects of medicating with cannabis. They had firsthand experience with the beneficial effects of medical marijuana for their father's ALS and mother's diagnosis of Alzheimer's. Charlie and Peter want to share their knowledge and passion for medical cannabis while improving health outcomes for clients with qualified medical conditions. They want to make sure you're well educated regarding exactly what products to use and how to use them. They want to keep in touch as to how you're doing to measure the benefits of your treatment. Please check out, their education section. We'll have all of that in the West Word and things like that. But without further ado, please, a warm welcome for our speaker, Charlie Booras.
Howdy, happy to be here. I was a Rotarian with the Arlington Club many years ago before my practice got too busy to allow me to ever leave the office. Got chained to the computer. Born and raised here in Jacksonville 69 years ago, went to Episcopal High School. Some of y'all might have as well. And got interested in cannabis after 36 years as a board certified family physician. My last 11 was with Baptist Primary Care. Wanted to share with you something that I was not lucky enough to know during my medical career, and that was the science of how cannabis actually works in the body. The vast majority of physicians that I've run across in the years since doing this, which totals 2.5 years in private practice with my brother, and about another 2 years while I was still with Baptist. We just were never educated about how cannabis works. And I've been a science nerd my whole career, read countless journals. There's just nothing in there. So wanted to give that bit of information for y'all and wanted to start with a little audience participation.
Yeah.
Show of hands. Who knows what THC is? Whoops, the majority. How about CBD? How about something called the endocannabinoid system? Yay, not the endocrine system, endocannabinoid system. The word stands for cannabis-like molecules made within the body. The endocannabinoid system is basically responsible for our body being able to heal itself with the vast majority of conditions that go wrong. That same system of self-healing brings with it a lot of prevention down the road. The purpose of the endocannabinoid system, which is not exclusive to humans, all mammals have it, dogs, cats, whatever. Its job is to monitor all 11 of our physiologic systems and keep them operating at their full efficiency. When all 11 systems are working in perfect harmony, we call that homeostasis. We are considered to be in perfect health. Doesn't happen very often. Our body activates that endocannabinoid system on demand whenever any of those 11 systems are not operating at their full capacity. Our body actually synthesizes on demand a THC molecule that we call anandamide. We also produce a CBD molecule. We abbreviate a long molecular name and call it 2AG. When our body produces adequate amounts of those endocannabinoids, we're able to heal ourselves. There are a ton of medical conditions that we see because for various reasons, our body is no longer producing enough of its endocannabinoids. That's where cannabis steps in. It can provide us with both THC and CBD, thus activating our endocannabinoid system and all of the benefits of cannabis, and there's a lot of them, our body is actually doing it. If there was no endocannabinoid system, there'd be no medicinal properties associated with cannabis. So fortunately, we have that system, and it's a great way to heal a number of conditions. Save up some questions for us because we really enjoy the question part. I'm going to cut my portion, keep it as simple as possible so that we can move on and have plenty of time for questions. I want my brother Peter to step in, and I give him credit for approximately 10 years ago telling me about the endocannabinoid system. He'd done a lot of research on cannabis right over my head, never heard of it before. And a lot of time when I run across physicians, I ask that simple question: have you ever heard of the endocannabinoid system? Thus far, nobody has heard of it. Wow. It was not just me who was in the dark for all those years. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Always wonderful to be around Rotarians.
Hello, my name's Peter Booras, and my relationship with cannabis started when I was about 14 years old. Well, I tried it and I liked it, and I never really, so I got it whenever I could, and all throughout my life, I had no problem with cannabis. But it wasn't until these last 10 years with our mother and father that I've really seen the benefits of medicinal cannabis. It's absolutely amazing. So in 2013, in early 2013, our dad came up and he told me that his doctor thinks he may have ALS. So after processing that, I went home and started doing a lot of studies. And the first thing I thought of was do a search for cannabis and ALS. I only had a couple of results. One of them was from a doctor on a PubMed article that was asking for it was a clinical cry for somebody to do some clinical research on cannabis and ALS because of what he had found out, that cannabis, or ALS, should I say, presents a multitude of different problems. And to address them all, this doctor had said it would take approximately 18 different medicines that weren't even developed yet to address all the complexities of ALS. And amazingly, cannabis can do all of them at once with one medicine. So given that, I started at work. It was 2013. It wasn't legalized until 2017. So I searched around Europe and found some seeds and started growing. I ended up growing and processing his medicine and started giving it to him. The first thing I noticed after making a tincture that he would take nightly and daily was that it would control the fasciculations and the cramping that ALS presents. So I figured if we're on that line, then if it's controlling the fasciculations of the cramping, it should be reducing the overall symptoms as well. So we just started doing a steady dosing and then started seeing that he wasn't declining as much as he was before he started doing cannabis. So we continued on, and about 2 years into the process, we started noticing that Mom was declining. She started hallucinating on a daily basis, telling us these stories. I was, by this time, I had been his daily caregiver, was there every day and started seeing this. Mom got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She had a PET scan which showed amyloid plaque in her brain. Again, started doing the studies. I looked up cannabis and Alzheimer's. Came up with a study that was done at the Salk Institute that showed that it could dissolve some of the amyloid plaque. So we started her on the same dosing that I was giving Dad at the time. Overnight, we noticed that the hallucinations stopped. And then her combativeness from the dementia stopped. It took about 2 years of steady dosing when all of a sudden we saw a breakthrough where now her memory is back. She ended up having even a cognitive test, which showed her memory was about 1 point away from normal. And ever since then, her memory is back. Maybe not all the way there. I can't detect what's not there because she seems to be really, really with us. But that continued on. So Mom and Dad now were both dosing on cannabis and chugging along, and things went really well. For Dad, it allowed him 7 years of life where they only gave him 1 before. So he was able to enjoy 7 more years. And for Mom, she's still with us. We see her once a week. We go by at least and have dinner with her, and she's just doing absolutely amazing. Cannabis is more amazing than any of us know, even us. As much as we know about cannabis, we always see things that always amaze us, but never surprise. It's just one of those things. I hear something else that it does, and it's like, wow, blown away, but not really surprised. Because of, just like what he was explaining, the endocannabinoid system. You have something that's activating a system of self-healing within the body. And if you have that, it can do nothing but make you a healthier person. I want to cut it short as well.
You're doing good.
Go ahead and open it up for questions.
Be sure to repeat them, the questions.
My mother-in-law just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in her lung, bones, lymph nodes. We actually had a visit this morning from hospice. We don't know how much time she has. Are there situations you've seen where it's been beneficial in a cancer scenario? She obviously has Medicare. Do you all have the ability to work
Do you ever work with insurance as well, or is it strictly out of pocket? Thank you.
Yeah, insurance does not cover treatments with cannabis. So if we wanted, and we'd love to, but there's not that potential there. The question, by the way, was asking about cannabis in somebody with stage 4 cancer, which is obviously a short-term process here. But what we do know with cannabis in that setting is that it does have both anti-cancer properties, in addition to helping with what's usually a sleep issue, pain issues, anxiety, depression. And if there's any treatment ongoing, it typically reduces the adverse effects of whatever the treatment is. Even if it's surgical treatment, chemotherapy, radiation, immunotherapy, whatever it is.
Yeah, it can definitely ease the comfort. We see it all the time. It works better than any of the pain medicines that are being prescribed. Cannabis is absolutely amazing in that way. We've had several people that have come to us with stage 4, and even, you're at that type of, that far advanced stage, it can still help with, if nothing else, symptom control. But there are cases of people who have gone into what would be considered more like a cannabis chemotherapy, where they're doing extremely high doses of cannabis, and are able to go from stage 4 to remission. It has happened, and it's all out there. One case was Joe Redner down in Ybor City. He was at stage 4 lung cancer, and he ended up growing and juicing his cannabis plant, and went into remission. Still alive today. So it does happen. But if nothing else, just getting the comfort of the symptom relief is worthy of it.
There's 2 questions. First, do people have to be referred into y'all for care? And second, the things you mentioned with Alzheimer's and ALS, that's pretty remarkable.
Mhm.
Is there ongoing research by any of those organizations with the cannabis?
Yes, there is some research, but
Question?
the question is, one is about, you need to be certified by an outside healthcare professional. No. The second part was about whether there's ongoing research for conditions such as ALS and Alzheimer's. It was only in November of last year that President Biden signed into law the ability for there to be randomized clinical trials using standardized preparations of cannabis. So yes, there are trials that are lining up. There's a really good Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research out in California that is spearheading a lot of the research there. As a research nerd for 24 years of my career, running clinical protocols for the Jacksonville Center for Clinical Research, I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait to hear rigorous trials using cannabis show the things that they could show. Yes, sir.
I had a friend who had the typical back routine, back starts hurting, goes in, takes a surgery, and kind of helped it. Really, then he went back and had some more and had the electrotherapy stimulation in the back, and it kind of helped, really didn't help. And so one day, we were at lunch, and you get photo of that magazine. First page, open up. You got this guy in there, Dr. Green, with all dressed up like a dude. I mean, he's sitting in front of his kids. Come in and see me for $200 and get your card. Maybe I ought to do that. Maybe it'll make people upset. He goes and sees this guy. The guy didn't get out of his chair. Or, he says, your back hurts? Okay. He didn't, examine him or poke him or ask him. And he goes in there, they take $250 and he walks out with the card. And then I think he put some kind of a dosage down there, because I understand the dosage is controlled. If you buy a product, it does comport with so many, I guess, the strength of the drug and various forces.
It goes next door to the store. He says it was kind of like walking into, kind of like going into like a ice cream shop. The way they had everything displayed. And the guy said, well, which one of these should I use? He says, well, what flavor do you want? So he said, well, we have peach and we've got vanilla and everything. He said, well, I kind of like peach. So he walks out there with this a liquid and a gum. I think they've taken about $100 more out of his pocket now for a little thing. So he goes home and he takes it. He said, it made me feel so bad. It just was terrible. He said, I've never touched it again, but they successfully took $300 or $400, $500 out of his pocket with this guy. And no follow-up. I said, well, there are all kinds of these dispensaries around town. Can you take that card and do any one that you want? So yeah, you go to one and they all pay something good. So it's regulated kind of sort of, I guess, but not on the basis. I think it sounds like you're
Summarize.
Not really a question, but more of a description of the problems associated with the medical cannabis industry. We set out to make a change to perform a standard of operation that we want the others to come up to. Our visits start with education. They'll spend time with me however long it takes. Meter is not running. We educate. You got the very short version. They get a longer version customized to what their problems are. They then, when we finish and I do the exam, like a normal doctor, I've done all those years, then they go meet with Peter, who in detail goes over the dosing recommendations. What to use, where to go, which dispensaries have the medicinal products necessary for their condition, how to dose it. We have a very robust support system. So at any stage, and there are some people, our oldest client is 98. So there are oftentimes people who need their handheld every day. And this is what Peter does. They'll call, you know, how do you feel? What'd you dose with yesterday? Do this today, call me tomorrow. So we're walking them through the process until they have found their dose and are achieving the therapeutic benefits they're looking for. We're also doing research based on the outcomes associated with people who are using cannabis. Our forms are a little more complex. We get a good baseline of where they are, and we compare that to when we see them about 7 months down the road. So we're trying to change that world that you're talking about. We know about that world. We like it about as much as he liked it. And we want to make a difference with that. And it's working. So far, so good. It gives us an opportunity to educate more. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just basically, you know, your story is typical. I hear it all the time because the dispensaries were left in charge of dosing people. You got all these positions that are doing certifications like what you're talking about. You know, there's a company that's doing virtuals, just don't even need a documentation and they'll certify you, but then what? You don't know what to do. I don't know how anyone gets better without a guidance for dose. So it's a huge deal. I've known it for a long time. I'm an advocate. I've been involved in cannabis as an industry before it was even developed. And that's been one of the biggest problems here is the lack of education because they don't know how to dose with people. I had the luxury, the opportunity to be able to learn how to dose our dad and mom, you know, so I had that experience and I had a ton of people coming to me. So I was able to do various types of conditions. But not everybody has that. So it's really hard to get your dosing, but you're right, man. Not one medicine is the same for one person. It's all different.
I was class 75 at this. So getting a little older, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, does it help with that?
Yeah, in fact, I was going to say, I had created a topical lotion out of legal cannabis products. And topical cannabis is absolutely amazing as well. It activates that system of self-healing that we were talking about earlier, but on your skin. So if anyone here has any pains, I can come around with a lotion and let you try some, and you can see the power of cannabis for yourself. If you have any pains currently today, you won't feel it in your head. Topical cannabis doesn't absorb into your blood. But if you want to get pain relief, just raise your hand, let me know, and I'll go get it.
Questions in the back, I see two.
This point, the product medical cannabis versus what somebody could go into a legal shop in Denver. And how is, what you go with like regular, pick up regular marijuana versus medical marijuana? Can you explain the difference?
Well, there's not much difference when you're talking about inhalational flower. There's really not much difference between what you get in a dispensary versus what you can get at a place like Colorado. There's a big difference between what you get out of a dispensary or a dispensary in Colorado and what's on the street, because you know what's not in it. Fentanyl, things that can kill you, other type of pesticides and things like that. But inhalational cannabis, and that's one of the biggest questions we get, is do I have to smoke it? The answer is always no. That's, to us, it's one of the least effective ways of getting full medicinal benefits. It works fast, doesn't last long, but it doesn't have the sustained activation of the endocannabinoid system like swallowed products do. Those are going to last in the average of 6 hours. Could be 8, could be 12, could be 4. Did that answer your question about inhalational cannabis?
There's some variety in terms of how much THC to prescribe. How do you determine how much is between 0 and whatever the maximum is allowed?
Yeah, start low and you go slow.
All over the.
That way, everybody can learn to adapt to it. You can actually get significant medicinal benefits without any intoxication at all. But there's no way to look at somebody or know what their problems are and be able to estimate what their final dosage is going to be. So that's the way we do it. We just start very low, knowing that they're not going to have any psychoactivity or, I mean, there's really hardly any adverse side effects when low medicinal products, low dose medicinal products are used. Is that an answer? Yes, sir.
I would think with the ongoing opioid crisis, that a lot of people would be going towards them just because of the difference in side effects. It really is an educational process.
Yes. So question is about the whole opioid crisis, which is getting worse every single year. We're now well over 100,000 deaths per year, 75% of which is due to fentanyl. Is it masquerades like opioids? You can buy it on the street, it's dirt cheap. The lethal dose is like 0.25 milligrams, which is nothing. Question, did that answer the question, what you were looking for? Yes, sir.
Talk about Alzheimer's. Improving monster systems, feedback machine. Seeing an MRI, there's evidence of Alzheimer's. But there's been every study showing MRIs after people are treated with Alzheimer's.
In animal models, yes. In human models, I'm not familiar with any studies. We really wanted to do that, repeat the amyloid PET CT scan that mom had documented all the amyloid plaque, but it was $5,000 out of pocket. And we know she's better, and it was hard for me to ask dad to cough up $5,000 just to see. His thought, being a physician himself, was, what are we going to do different? No, it'd be nice to have the knowledge. I would love for us to do it. And maybe the cost will come down enough that we'll still be able to figure out a way to financially make that happen too. Great question. I like that.
So
Yes,
I think you
Dane.
guys answered this with regard to the motion, but your typical treatment,
Is it non-psychoactive or non-euphoric? I don't know the proper terminology.
Get a buzz?
Is it
Yeah, I know what we're talking about.
that you're trying to address? How does that? Talk a little bit about that.
Repeat that question.
Do you have to get a buzz? Do you have to get a buzz with 2 people?
Goes to, if you're trying to have less anxiety or something like that. I mean, is there a way to treat that symptomology and still maintain all function and work?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So the question is, if you had anxiety or certain conditions, even pain, do you, if you dose with cannabis, is there a way to dose without having the psychoactivity? Get that kind of right? Okay. Yes, there is. There absolutely is. There's medicines between CBD and THC, and CBD has no psychoactivity. Does great with anxieties and such. So there are ways to do it. But that buzz, that feeling is simply an analgesic response to managing symptoms of, things like pain. So raising that dose up, like we have people with severe pains, they have to raise that dose up. Will they feel some psychoactivity? Probably. And it'll probably feel good to them because it's also helping with the pain relief. So it's a trade-off. If you're okay with a little bit of psychoactivity on board, you'll get more pain relief. Do you have to have it? No. I dose every day using a ratio product, and I don't feel any psychoactivity, but I'm getting pain relief from my back. And then I can supplement it with a topical that doesn't give you any pain, any psychoactivity. So there are definitely ways, and most often it's done that way without that psychoactivity. It's just the thing that people hear the most about. So, and oddly, the thing that I hear a lot of people don't want, that come into the clinic, they're not looking for that at all. They're just looking for symptomatic relief.
There's several professions or a lot of professions out there that are subject to drug testing. Is this going to show up on drug tests?
It is. And for, I'm really hoping that changes for all you that have businesses that have employees, consider removing THC from your testing because the test itself is flawed. They're only testing metabolite that occurs when you did THC within 45 days. So if you dose for something for sleep, it's completely washed out of your system by morning. And you're not feeling any of it in the daytime while you're at that job that you're doing. And there's a lot of really highly trained people that lose their jobs daily over something as harmless as cannabis. So,
One more.
Okay.
One more question. I mean, just whoever has it, one more.
Okay.
One more question. Who wants it? I see fingers being pointed over here.
Can I ask a specific question about the Alzheimer's? My mother died of that, and I remember part of it was, she went back to childhood. One of the last things I witnessed for me was making a baby doll out of a sheet, which was from the depression. She was a depression baby. Anyhow, in your experience with your mother, has she reverted back? Does she still know that she's your mother, and is she in the present day, or is she in college or childhood or?
She's with us. She's completely there. When you talk to her, she's fully there. She's not reverted to anything. She tells a story of her childhood, of her, all the years.
But her short-term memory is also quite good, which is shocking. That's the first to go with Alzheimer's. I mean, I'll go over, it'll be a week, sometimes even 2 weeks between a visit. She'll remember what we talked about then. She remembers the name of our pets and all sort of things like that. I consider her 90% back to the mom of old. She was a brilliant woman in her day. And so to see her stare at me with a mouth open across the table at dinner like it was before treatment, it's a whole different world. I'm just the happiest guy on the planet to have mom back at age 90 in the shape that she's in.
Thank you guys so much. That's just So interesting. So interesting. Thank you so much. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Thank you, Amanda, for being here and visiting with us today. Amanda, Charles, Peter, y'all are welcome here anytime. So we hope we'll see you again. I know we'll be seeing Amanda in a few weeks when she comes back to speak to us. So we look forward to seeing you all again soon and often. Next week, our speaker will be Michael Leach, who is the owner of the Bee Friends Farm. So I'm looking forward to that also. I learn something every week. So Ron Roberts is going to lead us in the four-way test today. Did you know that, Ron? Surprise.
Repeat after me the four-way test. We thank Sayer first.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Ron. The quote I picked today, I picked it with Rotary in mind. And then after hearing our program, I think really it applies to a lot of things. So, success is never final and failure is never fatal. It's courage that counts. That's by Winston Churchill. And when I chose it because I thought, you know, if we apply that to our Rotary lives, do we have the courage to not rest on the laurels of the past presidents and the past boards that led our club before, but to work and continue to work to make our club even better and stronger and more vibrant and more successful, and applying the Imagine Rotary theme to that. But then after hearing our program today too, we have the courage to continue to look for more and better ways to approach medical technology and medical options for things. So go forward and look for better ways to do things. So y'all have a great week and Imagine Rotary.